All right, class. A very good morning. I hope you guys are all are healthy and happy. So let's start with the chemistry of the chapter 2. In the previous chapter, we have completed that was the basic concepts of chemistry, and the whole chapters was completed. And I hope you have revised that too, prepared the notes very well. Now, with the next chapter, we need to move on the topic that is the structure of atoms. See, in the last chapter, we have discussed what are the atoms, why do we need to study them, what are the basic concepts behind them. And in this particular case, we have further going into the deeper investigation of atom and its various subparticles. Like if we are talking about the atom, there was only the thing which we knew that there is atom, which is made up of uh, which makes all the particle, which we have studied in Dalton's atomic theory. Now, in this particular chapter, we will study that how the structure of atom was investigated and how the further subatomic particles were investigated and discovered. So basically, in this topic, in this chapter, we will start with discovery of electrons, protons, and neutrons. Okay, I hope I'm clear. So the first topic is subatoms, that is electrons, protons, and neutrons. Now, the first point is how we discovered the electron and who was the discoverer of electron. Basically, there was a scientist known Faraday. You have already know the name. Faraday took an experiment with a cathode ray tube, and he proved that in this particular ray tube, in this particular tube, we have two different type of electrodes. See, the electrodes, you know very well, there are two types of electrodes, cathodes and anodes, a negative charge and a positive charge. Okay, and the way he's proved that we have he put some vacuum tube here and a high voltage battery, and he put here two particular electrodes, a cathode and anode. Okay, so what did he do? He basically, with the help of high voltage, passed an electric current which passed from from cathode to anode. And from this experiment, he basically concluded, he concluded that there are three major results of this experiment, which prove that first one, are electric current which passes from cathode to anode always travel in a straight line, and these are known as cathode rays. The first point, he said that these travel in a straight line, which is known as cathode rays. Secondly, he proved that if there is no electrical and magnetic field, see class, about the electricity, electric field and magnetic field, all these topic you will study in class 12th in detail in chapter electrochemistry. But now we need to just discuss that how the electron was discovered and what was the basic concept about the discovery of electron. So electron, you know very well, these are the negatively charged atoms. So he proved that these negatively charged atoms are traveling in a straight line, the first point. Second, he proved that it doesn't depend upon the nature of gas, which is put in this cathode ray tube. It does not depend upon it. Secondly, it travels in straight line. And third point, since it does not depend upon the nature of gases, that means electrons are the main constituent of each atom. So these are the 3 points which I'm representing. First one, cathode rays travel in straight line. Second, since they are traveling in straight line, that means they show exactly same behavior as the negative charged particles show. And third point, it does not depend on the nature of gas. So these particular 3 points explain that electrons are discovered, and these are the main subconstituent atom, the main subatomic particle of any atom. It means they are dependent in all the kind of atoms. Okay, so I hope I'm clear with this. Now, when the electron was discovered, after some time, with the when we kept moving further deeper into our chemistry, when we further kept moving into our investigation, into our research, we keep knowing about our further atomics like proton and neutron. So proton and neutron were discovered too, but these were discovered on the same kind of cathode ray tube, but that is a very modified cathode ray tube. Now, for differentiating these two terms, I would just put these particular points here. Now, after some time, what happened when we came to know about the discovery of electron? We went to our next thing, that is proton. To know about the proton, we just knew that there is something positive charge particle which are present in atoms. Okay, but when we went about our particles, when we go about our positive charge particles, we saw there that these cathode rays were traveling in straight line, but these are not cathode rays in proton. These are known as Karnal rays. Okay. And second point, they were not dependent upon the nature of gas, but they were dependent upon the nature of gas. And third point, since they were dependent upon nature of gas, that means there is something which is highly efficient, there is something which is highly dependent, and these were the positively charged particles, and hence we gave them another name, that is proton. That is proton. Okay, so electron was discovered, proton was discovered, and after some time there was a scientist known as Chadwick. He also discovered about the neutron. He said that neutron are the neutral particles which have neither negative charge neither positive charge, but it has exactly the same charge and mass ratio which has the proton. Okay, so after these discoveries of electron, proton, and neutron, we finally concluded these all terms, and we have a particular table for all these terms, which you must remember. That is electron, we have this shown with the abbreviation E, proton P, neutron N, and the charge in Coulomb, this is average charge, mass, and average mass. These terms you must remember. Okay, so basically electron was considered with 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 19 Coulomb. This was the exactly charge which was found on the proton 2. The only point is this is negative, this is positive. And if I'm talking about the average charge, this is -1. this is +1, and this is 0. Okay. Now the mass which is considered actually in the kg was taken as 9.1 into 10 raised to power minus 31. Whereas if I'm talking about these two terms, I would just clarify with the book these concepts. That is 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 27. Exactly same mass, okay, sorry. Exactly same mass that has proton, we have already considered. Exactly the same mass was shown by neutron 2. That is 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 27 2. Okay, and we have discussed in our first chapter, you have remembered that we have put a term atomic mass unit. You have remembered. In atomic mass unit, for the electron, the average mass was considered as almost 1, 1, and 0. Okay, so these terms you must remember that electron, proton have a charge with minus 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 19 coulomb. Proton have the same charge but with the positive sign. In the very same case, the mass is very different, 9.1 into 10 raised to power minus 31 kg, whereas 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 27 kg has the same mass which is shared by both proton and neutron. Okay, these terms are all calculated by experimental. If you want to study further, you can go through the book, first two topics, and you can go and revise them. But these were the basic things which you must know, and this are not so much important, but these are theoretical. Just go through your book and study these two topics. Now, the main topic of your this particular chapter is when you have come to know about these topics that we have electron, we have proton, we have neutron. A urge, you can say, was a query was arised by the scientist. See, when we have come to know that we have three subatomic particles, so we have a query in our mind. How can we identify them? How can we modelize them? How can we visualize them that these are present in an atom? So there was a concept of atomic model which was proposed by many scientists. Okay, now come to our first model, which was very successful and very important, very famous for some time, but after some time it was rejected too. This was the Thomson's atomic model. What did Thomson explain us? Let's come to our topic. What actually Thomson's model explains? What Thomson said, he said basically that our whole atom has exactly the same mass. He said that there is uniformly mass distributed over the atom. It was the first postulate of Thomson's model that our atomic mass is uniformly distributed. Clear hai? I hope this is clear. Now the second point, see, हमें सिर्फ यहाँ पे इसको explain करना है. We have to just make it as a model. We have to see how our electron, proton were mixed together to make an atom. Okay, and this was not exactly the model. This was not exactly how an atom shows, how an atom is visualized when we see through microscope. But this was a model which was put by a scientist in the previous time. So basically, we are in this chapter are just studying the history of our chemistry. We are studying our history, that how electron, proton, neutron were discovered. First case. Second case, when we have come to know that we have these particular atomic particles, then we have to make them in a form of model. Okay. Now, first point, Thomson explained us that atomic mass is uniformly distributed. Now he said that we have a spherical shape of atom. According to Thomson, he said that our atom is a spherical in shape with almost 10 raised to power minus 10 meter radius. So according to him, atom is very small with almost 10 raised to power minus 10 meter radius. And he also said that mass is uniformly distributed. Okay. Now he said that electrons in this particular atom are put somewhere these small dots show that these electrons are put somewhere just to maintain electrical neutrality. I'm repeating this again. Our atom is spherical in shape with almost 10 raised to power minus 10 meter, very small radius. Charge is uniformly distributed. And this whole atom is positively charged, but electrons are put somewhere into it just to maintain our electrical neutrality. Means to make our atom neutral, to make our atom completely chargeless, we just put electrons somewhere into it so that our atom becomes neutral. Okay, so this was the model which was explained by Thomson. And for this model, he also got Nobel Prize too. And this model was like represented as many kind of names, like a plum pudding or a kind of watermelon. You can easily visualize that. Like a watermelon, if we assume that this is a watermelon. Into the watermelon, the red part shows us the positive part. Okay, the red part which we eat, that shows us as a positive part, and the black seeds are known as electrons according to Thomson. Okay, so this is also known as watermelon model or Thomson's model of atom. Okay, so this was the atom, this was the model. But anyhow, after some time, as we kept on moving, this model was too rejected, but this was quite famous for some time because there was not explained about neutrons, and there was not many kind of calculative works on this particular topic. We just know about the theory about this topic, about this atom, about this model. So this was almost rejected after some time, and then we move to our next model that is known as Rutherford's model of atom, which is quite important and which gave us many observations too. Okay. So our next topic is Rutherford's nuclear model of atom. Which we will discuss tomorrow, I think, because we don't have much time left. I'll just briefly explain about Rutherford's model within 2 to 3 minutes. And in the very next lecture, I'll show them with the help of diagram and with the all details. See, I'll just explain that Rutherford's model was based on a radioactive element. You know about radioactive element, right? In chemistry, there are so many still unknown to you, to me, to all the scientists still. So these are some radioactive elements which are not further investigated, which are not further, whose properties are not yet come to know. These radioactive particles radiate 3 kind of rays, which are alpha rays, beta rays, and gamma rays. Okay, alpha rays are positively charged, beta rays are negatively, and gamma are almost neutral, like proton, electron, neutron, a kind of, just to make understand, not exactly electron, proton, neutron. Okay, so he used alpha rays, a kind of substance which are emitting alpha rays, and he put them on a gold foil, and after the putting of gold foil, when the rays strike on the gold foil, he put a hole into gold foil and the rays were deflected. The rays which deflected shows us the exactly experiment, showed us the exactly details of our atomic model. Okay, that would we study in our next class. So I have just given you a brief idea. So that was all about me in this particular class. Now, if you have any kind of doubt, you can ask me. Yes, class, any kind of doubt? Or should I just revise it with 3 or 4 minutes? Okay, so just recapitulate our whole class, what we have studied. In our class today, we have started with our new fresh chapter, that is chapter number 2, that is structure of atom. In structure of atom, we have studied that our atom is nothing, atom is which we can see. That was our previous concept, that our particles are made up of atom. But when we go into deeper cells, we came to know that our atoms are made up of 3 different subatomic particles. These are electrons, protons, and neutrons. These electrons, protons, and neutrons were discovered by some experiments. Electrons and protons were discovered by cathode ray tube, and after cathode ray tube, we came to know about some experimental details which told us that if it does not depend upon the nature of gas, this means these are the electrons. And second point, they always travel in the straight line. And if I'm talking about our proton, these travel in straight line too, but they are showing positive charge particle. And the main point is they depend upon the nature of gas. And after that, we have studied about the charge, that is 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 19 Coulomb, and the average charge, that is -1, +1. Neutron are considered as neutrals, so that's why the charge is taken as 0. And the same mass was shared by both proton and neutron, that is 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 27 kg. This all we have studied. Next, we move to our atomic particle, atomic model, that is Thomson's model, which I have just explained to you. Thomson's model told us that our atom is a spherical, which is represented as a watermelon. Like a watermelon, we have the red part as a positive part and the seeds as electrons. This we have studied. Now, if you have any kind of query or doubt in today's chapter, you can ask in today's lecture. Yes, class, any kind of doubt?
Explain Rutherford model again.
Hanji?
Rutherford model.
Well, we will study in our next class.
Okay, ma'am.
I'm asking about today's lecture. I have just briefly explained about Rutherford's experiment, that this is based on alpha ray particle. You are not in class from the beginning? Okay.
Main problem.
Another query? Another doubt? Yes, class. Nakul, Upendra, Yash. We have so many students. Or otherwise, we just end the meeting. Okay, class, then that's it by my side. Thank you so much. This all we have studied. And yes, if I'm talking about our previous chapter, in the first chapter, please keep in your mind that I have already told you we have 2 different type of numericals that would come in your exam. It was almost 5 to 6 marks chapter number 1. And the two main topics were the significant figures, and the second one is the empirical formula, the molecular formula, and those particular numerics. Okay, so I hope you have completed that notes and revised the back exercise too. So make yourself ready for your first chapter, and if we would get time, I would arrange an online test for you too. Okay. All right, class. That's it by my side. Thank you so much. If you don't have any query. Sir, I think we should end the meeting. Hello.